We're here at General Motors Place in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm Jim Houston.
And I'm Craig Simpson.
And here we are for a classic showdown between the Vancouver Canucks and the Dallas Stars.
This isn't a great matchup for these guys. Now, they're a physical team that plays an aggressive brand of hockey, but that can lead them into penalties.
And they're up against one of the least penalized teams in the league.
Jim, their special teams will need to come up big.
Here's a look at tonight's official.
Jim, he's one of the more experienced referees in the game. He'll let a lot of stuff go out there and really lets the guys play. But he will crack down on a lot of that holding and hooking in the neutral zone.
Face-off won by Morrison. He gets leveled by Zubov.
He put him in his place with a strong hit.
Brings it out. Over the line. Knocked down.
Excellent physical play.
Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Shove. Brings it out. Over the blue line. He gets pushed by Oland. In front. Stick save by Kluche. Stick save. In over the line. He gets run over by Boucher. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Flattened.
He's a bit stunned after that one.
Over the line. Taken out.
A great job of stepping up.
Big hit.
That's showing authority.
Advances the puck. Flattened.
He got laid out.
Over the blue line. Bumped off the puck. Henrik Sedin brings it out. In over the line. Shoots the puck. Blocked. Laid over. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Shoots it. Scores!
Let's look at that one again, guys. See how he unloads that wrist shot? It's pure skill, Jim. Great goal.
And just like that, they move in front.
The other team had better take cover because they're in for a wild ride.
Shoved. Turgeon. Kluche made the save. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Brilliant save by Turco. Brings it out. End to end. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Baumgartner gets pushed. Right out close. Turco hangs on for the whistle. The Stars need to find a way to win on the road.
Well, you should be able to win about half your road games. Anything less than that is a cause for concern.
The ref is ready to drop the puck. The faceoff goes to Vancouver. Rink-wide pass with a one-timer. Kluche turned the shot away. He covers up. The players are lined up and ready for the faceoff. Morrison won the draw. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Cranked him. Hard one-timer. Saved by Turco. Brings it out. In over the line. Morrow shoots quickly. Kluche shuts the door. Into the attacking zone. Laid out.
A devastating hit.
Over the blue line. Morrow shoots! Delayed penalty call coming up for Dallas. Quick pass up out of their defensive end. Over the line. Shove. Oland in front. Great save! Morrow has been nailed for hooking. Vancouver will try and take advantage of a penalty here.
Well, we haven't seen the power play yet tonight, but we know they're going to be a handful.
They've got great skill on that first unit. Brings it out. Over into the attacking zone. Shove. Right in front. And out they come with a puck. In over the line. Passed across. Thrashed.
You can hear that one up here.
Leg save by Turco. Over the line. He gets roughed up by Arnott.
Great hustle.
Over the blue line. Salo gets checked. Out of their defensive end. Goes behind his net. Into the attacking zone. In front. Leg save. Brings it out. In over the line. Checked.
It's getting rough out there.
Passed ahead. Shove. Over the line. He gets taken out by Zubov. Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Shove. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. He gets rocked by Guerin.
Stopped him dead in his tracks.
In over the line. He gets out-muscled by Bertuzzi.
He leveled his man there.
Vancouver is 0 for 1 with the man advantage as the penalty expires. Brings it out. End to end. Over the blue line.
Slaps him. His shot was way off target.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Bowled over.
There's some physical play.
Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Muscled off the puck. Delayed call coming up. Corson. Brings it out. Over the line. Cranks one. We have a penalty call. Each team's getting penalized here. Morrison is going to the box for hooking, and Madano gets called for hooking. Each team is now down a player, and action will resume.
Well, we're going to see a little wide-open 4-on-4 play and see how much this changes the game.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Baumgartner gets run over. Out of their defensive end. Coast to coast. Pushed. Behind the net. It's moved over by Allen. Brings it out. Over the line. Passed over by King.
Doesn't even hit the net.
Stick save by Turco. Across. In over the line. Rubbed off the puck by Baumgartner. King is going off for hooking. Vancouver will need to make a supreme effort now.
No doubt about it. They're playing 3-on-4. That puts him in a bind.
Brings it out. Advances the puck. Over the blue line. Malik mows him down.
That was a big league body check.
Moved ahead. Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. In the corner. Centering pass by Numanen. Brings it out. Over the line. Morrison gets knocked down.
Man, that was a jarring hit.
In over the line. The Stars come in offside. Dallas has a textbook penalty kill. Press hard outside the blue line and fall back into a solid box in the defensive zone.
And Jim, don't forget, they've got some solid goaltending, and that's a key.
Linden wins the faceoff.
He still doesn't know where he went. Great deep.
Out of their defensive end. He gets hit by Salo.
Sent him flying.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Rubbed off the puck. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Shoots hard. Kluche gets a leg on it. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Checked.
These checks keep everyone on their toes, Jim.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Cranked him.
That looked like trouble.
Brings it out. King will rejoin the play. He's finished his sentence in the sin bin. He gets leveled by Keane. In over the line. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. King. Right in front. A delayed penalty call against Dallas. Oh, you can see that the coach doesn't like that call at all, and he's going to have a word with the official. The puck is about to be dropped. And the faceoff is won by Barnes. He gets bowled over by Naslund. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Missed shot by Garrett. Kluche denies him. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Taken out.
I could feel that one from here.
Brings it out. A lateral pass. Into the attacking zone.
Completely missed the net.
Brings it out. Up through center. Over the line. Keane fires it. Saved by Turco. Medano. Over the blue line. Cranked him.
That was a throwdown.
Laid out.
It's getting pretty intense down there.
In over the line. It's played over by Keane. Brings it out. Kluche went long. Into the attacking zone. Shot from the wing by Keane. He scores, and we're tied at 1.
The puck came back out, and he was ready and waiting for it.
Vancouver wipes out the lead with that tying goal.
As long as they don't relax their defense, they can enter the break with momentum on their side.
Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Pumped by Young. Brings it out. Over the line. Shoved. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Over.
Hit! A smackdown!
In over the line. Around the back. Kluche denies him. Turned over. The ref indicates a delayed call against Vancouver. King gets called for hooking. Dallas will go on the power play once again. They weren't able to capitalize on their first power play. Let's see if they can do it here. Face-off won by Medano. Rocked.
Another hit like that and sparks will fly.
And the horn signals the end of the first period. We head into the break with the score tied 1-1.
Our biannual food drive. Bring 3 non-perishable food items and receive a free team poster.
It's time to get back to the action, and we're ready for period number 2. We're ready for the face-off. The face-off goes to Dallas. Over the blue line. Out of their defensive end. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Crushed.
Jim, that was a major league bump.
Brings it out. He gets run over by Zubov.
Nailed him.
Leveled.
Great contact.
Shoots the puck. Misses. Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Shoots it. Turco made the save. Cranked him. Puck found by Oland. Dallas Stars will make a line change. Kluche moves it ahead. Skating through center ice. He gets rocked by Morrow. Rocked. Moved back. One-time shot by Matvichuk. Played over by Oland. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Advances the puck. Brings it out. Over the line. A lateral pass. Linden out-muscles him.
He really bounced his man with that hit.
Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Checked. Dallas continues to struggle on the power play. They're now 0 for 3. In over the line. Whistles one. The goaltender's out of his net to play the puck. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. The game waits as the broken glass is replaced.
He'll be getting up and looking for the number of that truck.
The ref is signaling for the faceoff. And the faceoff is won by Barnes. Pushed aside by Kluche. Tremendous save! Brings it out. Over the line. He gets laid out by Allen.
He stops him cold.
Played across. Over the blue line. He gets taken out by Zubov. Quick pass up. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Into the attacking zone. Missed shot by Nielsen. Scores! It just crossed the line, but it counts.
He let go of the wrist shot, and it paid off handsomely with that goal.
That's right. You don't always have to wind up with a big slapper to get it past the keeper. Their coach has to like how they've opened up this second period.
On top in the early going and looking good.
Face-off won by Morrison. Passed ahead. Pushed off the puck. Sokol moves it ahead. Brings it out. Over the line. Passed back. Knocked over. Right in front. Turned away. Over the blue line. Knocked him off the puck. Passed across. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Fires! Into the attacking zone. He gets taken out.
Great timing and great power.
Over the line. Shove. That rebound in the wrong spot, no doubt about it.
Exactly, and they lit the lamp as a result.
The faceoff goes to Dallas. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Cook gets knocked over.
Talk about a headache.
Brings it out. In over the line. Kluche reached out for the puck. Intercepted by Arnott. Knocked over.
That'll keep them honest.
Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Run over. Right in front. Door slammed shut by Turco. He hangs on. Vancouver is putting on a clinic. They're skating hard, and it's really put them out front in this game.
They've got exceptional talent. They're beating their checks one-on-one, and it's creating chances.
And the faceoff is won by Medano. In front. Huge save by Turco. Over the blue line. Delayed call. Passed ahead. Right in front. Kluche slams the door shut. Baumgartner will serve time for interference.
He's not happy about getting that minor, but he's going to the box anyway.
Dallas hasn't had any luck on the power play so far in this game, but they'll get a fourth chance here.
Well, they just need a few bounces to go their way. If they stick with it, the goals will come.
Passed over by Newmanen. In the corner. In front. Lettinen scores on the power play.
Terrific power play effort right there, and it got them the goal.
That's how you draw it up on the chalkboard, no doubt. Back within one and on a roll.
It sure looks that way. I think they can tie this before the third.
Hard slap shot ripped by DeMaio. Kluche made the save. A lateral pass. In over the line. Shove. Goes backhand. Right in front. He gets hit by DeMaio.
He lined him up and lowered the boom.
Bumped off the puck. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Moved back. Moved across. Quick shot from the slot by Turgeon. He scores, and we're tied at 3.
He stepped into that shot big time and put it past the goalie.
The one-timer is hockey's quick strike, and he hammered that one home. A tie game midway through the second.
Now both teams need to figure out whether to gamble for the lead or wait for a break.
Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Hit. Brings it out. In over the line. He gets leveled by Boucher.
He caught him square on that one.
Brings it out. Over the blue line. Shoots the puck. Cloutier got a leg on it. Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Naslin right in front. Leg save by Turco. He covers up. Dave Tippett led the Stars to a division title and a Western Conference best 111 points in his first season behind the bench.
That's right, Jim. And that finish was good for 4th highest point total by a first-year head coach in NHL history.
Salo controls the puck. Intercepted by Arnott. Brings it out. In over the line. Centers it in front. Cloutier hangs on for the whistle. This guy needs to play aggressive to be effective.
Well, he doesn't flop down, so he has to play at the top of his crease. If he gets back on his heels, he gives away way too much net.
Face-off won by Turgeon. He gets hit by Nielsen.
He unloads a big hit.
Over the line. Hit. Across. Crushed.
That was a devastating blow.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Sakarash gets muscled off the puck. Over the blue line. Nielsen gets smoked. Young. In over the line. He gets run over by Baumgartner out of their defensive end. Over the line. Shove. Laid out. In front. Nielsen. Wrist shot. Shot blocked by King. Right in front. Blocked. Change underway for the Vancouver Canucks. Brings it out. Dallas Stars will make a line change. Into the attacking zone. He gets bowled over by Morrow. Shoots the puck. Leg save. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Darren. Cloutier makes the glove save. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Morrison. Pad save by Turco. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Shove. Bertuzzi brings it out. In over the line. Run over.
You could feel the impact up here.
Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Shove. Over the blue line. He gets checked by Numanen. Brings it out. Delayed penalty coming up for Vancouver. Hit. Checked. Cook has been nailed for hooking. Dallas has enjoyed limited success on the power play in this one.
Well, Jim, they do have 1 goal on 4 chances. Now let's see if they can add another one to that total.
Cloutier turns him away. Glove save. He hangs on. So much of this game is about confidence.
Well, that's just it. Once a guy's found the scoreboard, he's always hungry for more.
Defenders should be keeping tabs on this guy. And the faceoff is won by Linden. Brings it out. Moved ahead. Into the attacking zone. One time.
Not even close.
Leveled. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. With a blistering shot. Pad save. Passed over. Brings it out. In over the line. Brings it out. Change underway for the Vancouver Canucks. Sokol shoots. He misses the net. Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Cranked him. Over. Brings it out. Over the blue line. He gets roughed up by Matvichuk. Brings it out. Over the line. That'll do it for the second period. We're tied at 3 as we head to the break.
Just a reminder that pucks can enter the spectator area with enough speed to cause serious injury.
Neither team has claimed this game yet.
No, that's right, Jim. The first and second were played fairly evenly.
The action's about to start. Medano won the draw. Out of their defensive end, into the attacking zone. Hit! Brings it out. In over the line. He gets knocked down.
He really threw him off stride.
Over the blue line. Shot quickly by Letman. Kluche made the save. Brings it out. Over the line. Dallas couldn't convert on that power play. They're 1 for 5 in the game. Zubov out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Kluche reached out for the puck. Brings it out. Daniel Sedin now with the puck. Hit. Pass to head. Brings it out. In over the line. With a wrist shot. Turned away by Kluche. Round the back. Shoots the puck. In behind. Out of their defensive end. End to end. Hit. Young brings it out. In over the line. Brings it out. A lateral pass. Played across. Over the blue line. Passed ahead. Out of their defensive end. Delayed penalty coming up for Dallas. Clem is going to the box for roughing.
The play started to break down on this sequence. Just watch the contact on the replay.
Vancouver has converted once already, and they're getting another power play chance here. Dallas wins the faceoff. He gets shoved by Morrison. Over the line. Salo bowls him over. Knocked over. Brings it out. In over the line. He gets rocked by Medano. Quick pass up. Brings it out. Naslund over the blue line. Short pass. Out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Shoots it hard. Stick save by Turco. We've reached the midway mark of the penalty, and they haven't been able to generate a whole lot of anything with a man advantage.
Jim, it looks like they're trying to make the perfect play out there. All they need to do is keep firing the puck on goal and...
Ooh, what a hit. Brings it out. Dumped into the inboards by Garrett. Delayed call against Vancouver. Henrik Sedin will serve time for roughing.
Take a look at the replay. Far too much contact that time. Does he deserve the penalty? You bet.
You can see that coach isn't too happy about the call. With 4 players on either side, this game should open up.
Well, look for some longer passes and more odd man rushes. The tempo of this game could really pick up.
Stone cold by Kluche. Brings it out. Over the line. Clem has left the box, meaning his team will enjoy a 5-on-4 power play here. Out of their defensive end. End to end. Zubov. Run over. Right in front. Leg save by Kluche. Brings it out. Quick puck movement. Into the attacking zone. Taken out. Brings it out. Kapanen in over the line. Just wide of the net. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Laid out. Played up. Brings it out. Dallas makes a line change. Hard shot. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Rubbed off the puck. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Muscled off the puck. Bertuzzi grabbed it. He dumps it in on the inboard. Center. Save by Turco. Brings it out. Over the line. Leveled. Quick pass up. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Shove. It's a scramble. Played out of their defensive end. Dallas puts its third line out. Hit. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Wrist shot. Misses. Over the line. He gets taken out by Bertuzzi.
He laid the hit on him there.
Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Turco reached out for the puck. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Knocked over. In behind. Dallas puts its checking line out. Over the blue line. Shoved. A lateral pass. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Delayed penalty call for Vancouver. In front. Knocked down. Daniel Sedin gets called for hooking. Dallas has just 1 goal on 6 power plays. Let's see if they can get it going here. Face-off won by Linden. Brings it out. In over the line. Quick pass up. Passed across. Over the blue line. Salo knocks him over.
Thumped them that time.
Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Flattened.
He took a solid check there.
Big hit.
He's unstoppable.
Into the attacking zone. Linden. Brings it out. In over the line. Pushed off the puck. Moved up. Brings it out. A minute into this penalty and the power play is still... Oh, what a big hit. Malik out of their defensive end. Over the line. Shove. Advances the puck. Shoots! Allen misses. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Centers it in the corner. Kluche makes the stick save. He covers up. Vancouver wins games by outworking their opponents. You rarely see a soft shift from anyone on this bench.
They win their games on effort, and they're an honest team. You rarely see them give up on a play.
Arnott wins the faceoff. He gets hit by Bertuzzi.
Send him right to the ice.
In over the line. Sent flying. Arnott brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Push. Dallas has looked sharp on the power play, even though they failed to click on that last penalty. Along the boards. Rubbed off the puck by Bertuzzi.
He got his man on that hit.
Played across. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Guerin shoulders him. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Allen brings it out. In over the line. Wrist shot by Nielsen. Into the attacking zone with a wrist shot. Brings it out. He gets checked by Rushinsky. Over the blue line. A lateral pass. King pushes him. Shoots the puck. Kluche with the glove save. Change underway for the Vancouver Canucks. Hit. Out of their defensive end. Brings it out. Over the line.
Made the defense look bad on that move.
Madano brings everything to the game. He rarely lets up anywhere on the ice.
Yeah, he's a tireless worker at both ends. There's not much he can't do out there. He's an exceptional talent.
The faceoff goes to Vancouver. He gets leveled by Morrow. This guy's got a pair tonight, so you know he'll be seeing lots more ice time.
Well, and Jim, his teammates will be looking to set him up for the hat trick. And he deserves it. He's having a heck of a game.
And the faceoff is won by Morrison. Passed across by Milik. In over the line. Right in front. Pad save by Turco. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Checked. Moved up. It's played over by Milik. Moved over by Morrison. Bertuzzi gets shoved. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Moved ahead by Newman. Worked over.
He got worked over on that one.
It's passed over by Naslund. In over the line. Shoved. Behind the net. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. He gets muscled off the puck. Boucher moves it ahead. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. He gets hit by Baumgartner.
A little intimidation there.
Across. Over the blue line. Knocked down. Advances the puck. In over the line. Pushed aside by Kluche. Moved ahead. Brings it out. Over the line. He gets shouldered by Young. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Nielsen steals the pass. Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Run over. Brings it out.
We end the third in a tie and head into OT, where the next goal will decide the game.
The fan with the most decorated car or home will receive a pair of ringside tickets to an upcoming game. See guest services for details.
Everybody loves overtime hockey.
It's extra drama for the fans and a chance for the stars to shine.
About to drop the puck. The faceoff goes to the Canucks. Arnott knocks him over.
That's how you stand a guy up.
Played up. Over the line. Hit. Brings it out. Coast to coast. Numanen gets checked. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Nice steal by Medvedchuk. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Rocked. He got dropped. A shot from the slot by Numanen. Checked. Passed ahead. Brings it out. Over the blue line. Bowled over. Out of their defensive end. Dallas makes a line change. Knocked over. Brings it out. Morrison corrals the puck. Turned aside by Turco. Over the line. Wrist shot by Morrow. Moved ahead. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Turco reached out for the puck. Out of their defensive end. In over the line. Little deep there by Morrow. Shoved. Passed over. Short pass. Offside Stars.
He is one of the best body checkers in the league, and you can see how he explodes through that check.
The players are lining up at the faceoff circle. The faceoff goes to the Canucks. Morrison, huge shot, saved by Turco. Over the blue line. Bowled over. Morrow fires it in behind. Brings it out. Coast to coast. He gets rocked by Zubov. Moved over. Over the line. Baumgartner shoves him. Scramble in front of the net. It's played up by Morrison. Brings it out. In over the line. Shoved. Out of their defensive end. Moved across. Mowed down. Brings it out. Moved over by King. Over the blue line. Blocked. Passed over. Brings it out. Into the attacking zone. Knocked him off the puck. Lettinen returns it. Right in front. Out of their defensive end. Over the line. Hit. Brings it out. In over the line. He gets worked over by Oland. Brings it out. Vancouver makes a line change. A shot from the slot by Nielsen. They're getting ready for the faceoff. Faceoff won by Morrison. Naslund, wrist shot, saved by Turco. Madano out of their defensive end. Into the attacking zone. Rocked.
I wouldn't want to be him right now.
Brings it out. Over the line. Flattened. A lateral pass. Brings it out. In over the line. Laid out.
There's one to remember.
Out of their defensive end. Over the blue line. Naslund gets checked. Right in front. Salo now has the puck. Through center. Played over. In front. Turco freezes the puck. They're getting ready for the faceoff. Morrison won the draw. That ends it. This game ends in a tie. The final score, 3-3.
Tonight's third star for Vancouver, number 89, Chris Nielsen. Tonight's second star, Dallas, number 27, Tampa Bay. And tonight's fifth star, Vancouver's number 44, Todd Bertuzzi.
From General Motors Place in Vancouver, British Columbia, I'm Jim Hewson.
And I'm Craig Simpson. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
You